I'm Danielle Drolette, corporate reporter at PR Week. Today I'm sitting with David Rockland, AMEC Director and Global Head of Research at Ketchum. So how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Great. So last month AMEC held their third annual summit on measurement.
Yep.
And talked about implementing the Barcelona principles.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us a little bit of a recap of the event and what sort of, what came out of it?
Sure. And maybe to do so, it's helpful to back up a year and talk for a moment about Barcelona. Barcelona, which was the second such summit, was really the first time that the industry, after decades of sort of debate of how do you measure PR, what's good, what's bad, it was the first time the industry as a whole said, this is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And this is how you do it in a broad sense. It's at 7 principles. They were all voted on that said, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is better, this is best, and define language within that as to sort of to broadly articulate those things. So if Barcelona therefore set the foundation of measurement, what Lisbon did this year was really to say, okay, based on that foundation, how do we implement it? How do we go forward? If measuring business results for PR is the best, then how do you do that?
Right now, when we talk about PR measurement, ABEs seems to come up and be sort of top of mind. It's been brought up. Where do you sort of see that? Are ABEs dying? I know I've heard some companies that are sort of accusing other companies of still using ABEs. What are your thoughts on that?
Going back to the very first of these AMEC summits, you mentioned there's been 3. The first was in Berlin, and I gave a talk about ABEs, what's right, what's wrong, etc. And the first question I sort of asked the audience to get everybody sort of off the ground was, how many of you use ABEs? And there was probably 200 people in the room, and 195 of them said, raise your hand. Mm-hmm. I said, how many of you would tell your mother to use ABEs? And nobody put up their hand. They're sort of embarrassed about it. And so ABEs are one of those unfortunately silly practices that PR has used for a very long time. And what's fundamentally wrong with it is that basically what it's doing is assuming the value of what you create through public relations equals the cost of buying advertising. And the things aren't really related to each other, really, in some respects, at all, other than the fact that they represent space in a publication. They don't reflect quality, they don't reflect credibility associated with our media, a lot of different things. So probably the biggest deal out of Barcelona was for the first time, the industry said, ABEs are wrong. ABEs are not the value of public relations. I think a lot of us, and I would include Ketchum, and I would include a lot of the other agencies as well, what we've been doing with our clients is basically trying to wean them off of ABEs. Right. I've been seeing with a lot of our clients that we are really making progress in moving them away to better forms of measurement. Mm-hmm. AMEC also produced something called the valid metrics, which the valid metrics are basically, if you're not going to use the ABEs, so then what do you do? And there are a series of charts that say, okay, if you're focused on employee engagement, use this chart. And if you're focused on, within employee engagement, getting employees to understand the new mission of the company, here's the metric you use. So there really is an alternative.
And another obvious hot topic is social media.
Yep.
It's a space that's constantly growing, it's constantly in flux. What are sort of the steps moving forward in terms of setting a standard of measurement for that space? Social
media itself being so much in flux that, if we were having this conversation 5 years ago, we probably wouldn't have known what Twitter was, for that matter. Right. And now we're all trying to measure Twitter. I think some of the, let's call them the principles out of Barcelona, and there's one related to social media and some of the text within it, is say, social media is not a strategy. Social media is a channel. Okay, it's a channel just like, magazines, newspapers, PR Week. And you measure it the same. You look at quantity, you look at quality, you look at who are you reaching the right people. So some of those immutable ideas out of Barcelona don't change for social media. Now, does it change, however, how you measure when, instead of measuring a one-way flow of conversation, you publish something, somebody reads it or not, versus you publish something, they read it, they comment, 4 people watch that. Yeah, the techniques change, but the principles don't. I think you'll see the industry take steps toward more definitive ways of doing it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it takes us, if we talk about social media as the as engagement. How do you engage with people as opposed, how do you have a dialogue with people? It'll probably take us a while to, nail that down exactly. And then it probably, as soon as we do, some new form of Twitter will come along, we'll have to figure it out all over again.
Right. Now, sort of building upon that and moving forward with PR measurement in general attached to the Barcelona principles, what are you sort of predicting or foreseeing in the next 5 years?
Well, social media, hot topic.
Yeah.
Better education within the industry as a whole, another sort of broad area. And then I would say the third area, which I think is probably almost more important than the others, is really the advancement of techniques that establish a business result from PR. Those techniques by and large exist. It's the institutionalizing of them. It's the advancement of sort of different types of analytics that other forms of marketing like direct mail and advertising have really used a lot and benefited from and really can showcase their ROI. I think it's the bringing of those techniques into our industry that I sort of see as the future. I guess optimistically what I see as the future, and maybe this is a little, seeing the world with rose-colored glasses, is I do think we took a major step in Barcelona. I think we set an agenda going forward with Lisbon. I'd love to see it that we as an industry stick together on it.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many associations in our little tiny world of PR, each one who wants to sort of have their own kind of mark on the world. And with Lisbon in particular coming out with an agenda of here's what we need to focus on, I'd love to see AMEC as a director of AMEC, IPR, I'm on the IPR commission, but also, PRCA and CIPR in the UK. I'd like to see the Ukrainian PR Association.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see, every kind of group like that. And I think there's probably hundreds of them out there. Sort of get together and say, you know what, you're going to do this chunk of this agenda, you're going to do this chunk of this agenda, I'm going to take care of this. And that this industry really takes a step forward in, now that we've sort of united around a few things, to then carry that agenda going forward and stick with it, as opposed to everybody kind of does their own thing and we sort of have a mess after 5 years.
Right. Great. I appreciate you speaking with me today.
You bet. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.